These two salads are so delicious, full of flavor, and unique. Welcome, I'm Amy. I'm really excited to share these recipes with you. I'm doing a chicken Caesar salad that has a unique take on croutons, as well as a street corn steak salad. I can't wait for you to see these recipes. They are so good. Let's make salad. Tonight I'm doing a steak street corn salad. Sounds really good. And I thought it would be fun to do a video all about salads that aren't boring. So just kind of tasty, unique salads. So we're starting with a street corn steak salad. Let's get started with cooking the corn. I'm gonna cook it in the microwave. This is my preferred method of cooking corn. It's really easy. So all I do is take a towel, a wet towel. Normally I use paper towel, but I thought I would try this method to see if a reusable towel, this is just a towel we use to clean my kids' hands, to clean the counters, and we could wash it and reuse them. And so I'm just gonna cook it in the microwave for 3 minutes. I do 1 ear at a time. Fresh corn is still in season when I'm filming this, but use frozen corn if it's not. It's good too. This is very hot, but it looks good, nice and cooked. So I'm gonna do the next one. I'll do all 3. Let's get going with the dressing while the corn finishes cooking. Here's all of the ingredients, plus we're gonna juice 2 limes and put cilantro in this dressing as well. This is actually a blended dressing, so we're gonna put everything in this blender cup. Let's start with the limes. I like to cut my limes just on the counter, and lemons actually. I just don't cut them all the way through. That way I don't cut directly on my counter. But we're gonna go ahead and put the juice of 2 limes in here. The recipe says 1/4 cup, but I don't actually know how much that is. So we're gonna hope that 2 limes is sufficient. I don't wanna dirty a measuring cup. I'm also rolling up this 3rd ear of corn. I'm gonna cook that really fast in the microwave. I took the stems off all of this cilantro and I'm gonna put it in here. I just put the cilantro in here and I'm curious, I took it off the stems, but I'm curious, would you take it off the stems or just put it in with the stems since you're blending it up anyway? I don't have fresh garlic, so I'm just using ground garlic. I do this all the time actually, I just don't really have fresh garlic a ton. But that's ground roasted garlic. It's my favorite kind of ground garlic. We're gonna do some vinegar. This is actually champagne vinegar. You could use white vinegar if you want. That's what the recipe calls for. I love this vinegar. It's great for salad dressings. I actually need to buy some more because I just finished it. And I'm gonna go ahead and use honey. The recipe actually calls for brown sugar, but I think honey is gonna go really well with this dressing. Let's add some salt. There are specific instructions if you want to go ahead and use the measurements. I'm just going to estimate. That's pepper. We're going to add in a little mustard for some depth of flavor and to help it all come together. That's Country Dijon coarse ground mustard. Now we're going to add in some olive oil. It smells good. Let's go ahead and blend it up and we'll taste it and see what we think. I did add a bit more honey than what you just saw. It's blended. I'm gonna go ahead and open it and taste it. I did make some changes from the original recipe, so I will link it below as well as my changes. But it called for more olive oil, but I tend to like my dressing more vinegary with less olive oil. So we're gonna go ahead and try it. It's really good, I like it. It's very bright and tangy, which I think is really good. Now we're gonna get all of the salad ingredients, all the lettuces chopped up, get the corn off the cob, and then in a little bit, I'll go ahead and make the steak. I'm not a professional steak maker, so you might have some tips or different ways to do it, but I like to just kind of cook the steak hot and then turn the heat down once it gets a really nice color on the outside. You could use whatever kind of mix of lettuces you'd like. I just chose what I bought from the store. I'm gonna make another recipe tomorrow for a different yummy Caesar salad with kind of a fun take on croutons. So you'll see that right after this recipe. And I like my lettuces all chopped pretty fine. I want everything kind of bite-sized. So that's what I'm gonna do. Let's go ahead and get all the salads in the bowl. It's very simple. So we just have the greens, the corn. I'm gonna just slice it off the cob. I'm gonna go ahead and season the corn with salt and pepper. and set that aside. I like everything in my salad to have flavor. I don't want anything to be bland, so I season anything I can. And cheese. This is Parmesan. So those are the components: the greens, the corn, the steak I have to cook, the cheese, and the dressing. Now it's time to cook that steak. So I just put a little olive oil in the pan, wait for that to get hot. I like to use like the water method where I just kind of splatter a little bit of water in there and wait for the water to sizzle. So I just keep trying it every few minutes until the water sizzles, and then I know the pan is nice and hot. I don't really know what I'm doing when it comes to cooking steak, but I just make the pan really hot, and then once it has a nice sear, I flip it over, cook the other side, and we like our steak cooked medium well. So you can just look up temperatures to see how well done you want your steak cooked. I know a lot of people like medium steak. Then I go ahead and just slice the steak against the grain. And so I just look to see where the, grain is in the steak and cut it the other way. You could also slice the steak first and then cook it. That would be really good as well. But this salad is really nice, bright, full of flavor. And I love the steak with that dressing and the corn and the Parmesan. They all go really, really well together. We don't eat a ton of salads around here, but when we do, I like them to be tasty and full of flavor. And this has a nice amount of protein as well. Definitely check out the description to see the recipe if you're interested. Now we're moving on to chicken Caesar salad with a homemade Caesar dressing. But you can definitely just use store-bought if you'd like. These are all of the ingredients for the chicken. I'm going to go ahead and marinate the chicken for just an hour or two and then cook it up at dinner time. But I like to cut my chicken breast in like small chunks, bite-sized pieces, and I'm going to add some olive oil and all of those seasonings to a Ziploc gallon-sized bag and then refrigerate it. It gives it a really nice flavor and a great texture. Now we're making the croutons for the salad, which is actually breadcrumbs. It's seasoned breadcrumbs, and I'll add a little bit of Parmesan in there as well. Toast it up. I might never go back to normal croutons because this was great. You get a crouton in every single bite, and it's not too hard or crunchy. Honestly, such a good hack for croutons that you can have at every single bite of your salad. Next, I just took the time to slice the lemon in half, and we're gonna go ahead and cut up the lettuce. And I just like to kind of slice mine in sections. You can see I keep the root on, slice it in sections, and then go ahead and cut it the other way. That way they're already in little pieces. I want my lettuce to be in bite-sized pieces. It's kind of how I prefer my salad. But this is Little Gem lettuce. It's from Trader Joe's. You could get whatever kind of lettuce you like. Romaine, even kale would be good here as long as you massage it a little bit. But since this is wet, I go ahead and just let it sit in a towel for a little bit. You could even do it in the morning and then let it sit in the fridge, until dinner time. The breadcrumbs are ready to come out. They're nice and toasty. Now let's move on to making the dressing. I love this Caesar dressing. I've made it so many times. It's so good on like a chicken wrap, on a salad, to dip your chicken nuggets in, anything like that. But it's really simple. I use mayo. You could make your own mayo. I just don't really like to eat raw egg like that, but you could definitely do that if you want. So it's mayo, lemon juice, vinegar, Dijon. I use tamari. You could do Worcestershire, garlic, and pepper. Actually, this time I used hot honey as well. I've never done that before, but it worked really well. Let's cook the chicken. This is probably my favorite way to cook chicken, actually, to dice it up, marinate it in the fridge, and then cook it, kind of giving it space so it doesn't steam, but it gets that nice kind of crust on the outside, but it stays really juicy on the inside. And I do it in batches. Usually if I do like a pound and a half, it takes about 3 batches. But the chicken, when you do it this way, it has great flavor. It's very tender and moist because you marinate it for a while. And it has such great flavor. There's flavor in every single bite. But if you don't want to take the time to do that, since it does take, 6 minutes or 7 minutes per batch, you could just cook it, just cook the chicken breast. You could put it all in the pan. You could try and bake it. There are options. You could even use pre-cooked chicken if you want. But I go ahead and assemble the greens. I have learned that I can just massage the kale without actually putting any oil on it, and it works really well. But I go ahead and just add everything. So the greens, the chicken, the cheese, the dressing, the croutons,
or the breadcrumbs, and it's super tasty. I hope you try these recipes. They'll be in the description. I'd love to have you give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, subscribe if you're new, and I'll be back again next week. Bye.